Jisoo Park sat in the back row of the classroom at the Galactic Defense Academy. She kept her eyes down, taking notes while the teacher explained battle tactics. Around her, students from 20 different alien worlds talked loudly and showed off. But Jisoo stayed quiet. "The key to winning space battles is quick action and power," said Commander Sunmi Lee, pointing to the big screen behind her. "But remember, sometimes the quiet move wins the day." When she said this, Commander Lee looked right at Jisoo. Jisoo looked up for just a second, then back down at her notes. After class, Jisoo walked alone through the wide hallways of the academy. The building was huge, made of shining metal and glass that looked out to the stars. Earth was just a small blue dot from here, barely visible among thousands of other worlds. "Hey, Jisoo, wait up," a loud voice called from behind. Jisoo turned to see her roommate Taeho Kim running toward her. Taeho was half human, half Centaurian. He had blue-tinted skin and was a full head taller than most humans. His family had left Earth generations ago, but kept their Korean name. "You disappeared after class again," Taeho said, catching up to her. "A bunch of us are going to practice combat moves in the sim room. You should join." Jisoo shook her head. "I need to study." Taeho sighed. "You always study. Don't you ever have fun?" "Studying is fun for me," Jisoo said softly. "I still don't get how you got into this place," Taeho said, not unkindly. "Most humans who make it here are loud, strong types. You know, the ones who can punch through walls or hack any computer." Jisoo just shrugged. She didn't explain that she had scored higher on the tactical thinking test than anyone in the Academy's 50-year history. She didn't talk about how she could see patterns that others missed. "Well, if you change your mind, we'll be in Sim Room 4, Taeho said, then jogged away to join a group of laughing cadets. Jisoo continued to her small room. Inside, she placed her hand on the wall scanner, and the lights came on. Half the room was neat and plain, her side. The other half was covered in posters of famous space battles and glowing alien plants. Taeho's side. She sat on her bed and pulled out her tablet. But instead of opening her textbooks, she opened a file marked Class Observations. Jisoo began to type. *Do-yun Choi. Right-handed but uses left leg for balance. Slow to turn right. Relies too much on strength. Gets angry when challenged *. Mina Kang. Fast reflexes. Poor planning. Can be tricked into moving too early *. Taeho. Strong but kind. Won't hit an opponent who is down. Can be defeated by pretending to fall *. She had notes on every student in her class. Not just their fighting styles, but how they thought. What made them angry? What made them hesitate? Jisoo watched everything, remembered everything. A soft beep came from her tablet. A message from Commander Lee. See me after dinner. Training room 7. Come alone. Jisoo stared at the message. Commander Lee had never asked to see her privately before. Was she in trouble? Had someone noticed her watching and taking notes? Had dinner in the Great Hall. Jisoo sat alone, picking at her food. Around her, hundreds of cadets from across the galaxy laughed and ate. Some had 4 arms, some had scales, some glowed in the dim light. Humans were rare here, only about 1 in 20 students. From across the room, she noticed Do-yun Choi watching her. Do-yun was the top student in combat training. He was human, from the Korean colony on Titan. He was tall, strong, and everyone expected him to be the best in their class. Now he was looking at Jisoo with narrowed eyes, as if trying to solve a puzzle. Jisoo looked away. She finished her food quickly and slipped out of the hall. As she walked to Training Room 7, her heart beat faster. Whatever Commander Lee wanted, Jisoo knew her quiet days of watching from the shadows might be ending. Jisoo stood outside Training Room 7, took a deep breath, and placed her hand on the scanner. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Commander Lee was inside, standing in the center of the empty room. The walls were plain white, ready to become any battle scene the computer could create. "You wanted to see me, Commander?" Jisoo asked quietly. "Yes, Cadet Park." Commander Lee smiled. "Tomorrow your team will face Cadet Choi's team in the battle simulation. I wanted to prepare you." Jisoo blinked. "My team. But Cadet Jun is our leader. Cadet Jun is in the medical bay with Rigelian flu. He will not be able to join." Commander Lee walked in a slow circle around Jisoo. "You will lead in his place." Jisoo's heart beat faster. "But Commander, I'm not." "Not what?" "Not ready. Not a leader." Commander Lee stopped in front of her. "I have watched you, Jisoo. You see things others don't. You understand this game better than you let anyone know." Jisoo looked down. "The others won't listen to me." "Then make them listen." Commander Lee touched a control panel on her wrist. The room changed. Now they stood on a field of tall grass under a purple sky. "This is tomorrow's battle map. Study it." For the next hour, Commander Lee showed Jisoo the battle area. Jisoo asked questions about the terrain, the weather, the rules. Each time, Commander Lee smiled more. "You ask the right questions," she said. "Questions no one else thinks to ask." When Jisoo left, she felt both excited and afraid. She had never led a team before, and to face Do-Yun's team, the best in the academy, seemed impossible. Back in her room, Tae-ho was playing a game on his tablet. "Where were you?" he asked without looking up. With Commander Lee, Jisoo sat on her bed. "I'm leading our team tomorrow against Do-Yun's team." Tae-ho dropped his tablet. "What? You? No offense, but you never even speak in practice. Jun is sick." Jisoo pulled out her own tablet. "We need to prepare." "Against Do-Yun." Tae-ho laughed. "We're going to lose so badly." Jisoo looked at him. "Not if you trust me." Something in her voice made Tae-ho stop laughing. He stared at her, then nodded slowly. The next morning, Jisoo met with her team. Tae-ho, Mina Kang, and Han-jae. They all looked worried. "So what's the plan?" Mina asked. She was small but fast, with green eyes that showed she was part Arcturian. Jisoo showed them a map on her tablet. Do-Yun always attacks straight on. He relies on strength. We won't fight him there. "But that's how you win," Han argued. "He was a sturdy human from the moon colonies. You take the center, you win the game." "Not this time," Jisoo said firmly. She pointed to different spots on the map. "Tae-ho and Han, you go here and here. Mina, you'll come with me." They argued, but in the end, they agreed to follow her plan, even if they didn't understand it. When they entered the simulation room, Do-Yun's team was already there, looking confident. Do-Yun smirked when he saw Jisoo in the leader position. "This will be quick," he said loudly to his teammates. The room changed around them. The purple field appeared, just as Commander Lee had shown Jisoo. A wind blew through the tall grass, making waves like an ocean. "Battle begins in 10 seconds, the computer announced. Do-Yun's team readied their mock weapons, facing forward, ready to charge the center where the main flag was placed. 5 seconds. Jisoo nodded to her team. They moved to their positions, away from the center, confusing Do-Yun's team. "Begin." Do-Yun's team charged forward. Jisoo's team scattered to the sides. "They're running away." One of Do-Yun's teammates laughed. But they weren't running. Jisoo had seen what no one else had noticed: hidden paths through the tall grass, places where the ground dipped, blind spots in the field's design. For the next 20 minutes, Jisoo's team moved like ghosts through the grass, capturing the small point flags that everyone ignored. They avoided direct fights, struck quickly, then disappeared. Do-Yun grew angry. He grabbed the center flag, but it wasn't enough. By the time he realized what was happening, Jisoo's team had won by points, without ever fighting a direct battle. When the simulation ended, the room fell silent. Du Yun stared at Ji-Soo with shock and anger. Her teammates looked at her with new respect. Commander Lee watched from the observation room, a small smile on her face. The quiet girl wasn't so invisible anymore. News of Ji-Soo's win spread quickly through the academy. As she walked through the halls the next day, students looked at her differently. Some nodded with respect. Others watched with careful eyes. In the dining hall, Ji-Soo sat with her team for the first time. They had many questions. How did you know about those hidden paths? Han asked between bites of food. I studied the map, Ji-Soo said simply. But those paths weren't on any map, Minna said. Ji-Soo stirred her soup. I saw how the grass moved in the wind. Where it bent differently, the ground was lower. They stared at her in surprise. You saw all that in the few seconds before the battle? Taiho asked. Ji-Soo nodded but said nothing more. She didn't tell them she had spent hours the night before, studying every detail Commander Lee had shown her. Suddenly, the room grew quiet. Du Yun was walking toward their table, followed by his team. His face was hard, his eyes fixed on Ji-Soo. He stopped in front of her. That was a trick, he said loudly. Not real fighting. Ji-Soo kept eating her soup. In real battle, you can't hide and run. Du Yun continued. Real warriors face each other directly. Ji-Soo looked up at him. In real battle, you do what works. Du Yun's face grew red. I challenge you, one-on-one. Just you and me. The dining hall was completely silent now. Everyone watched. One-on-one challenges were rare and serious. No, Ji-Soo said, returning to her soup. Du Yun looked shocked. No one refused a challenge. It was seen as weak. Are you afraid? He asked. Yes, Ji-Soo said honestly. You're bigger and stronger. In a direct fight, you would win. Some students laughed. Du Yun smiled, thinking he had won. But Ji-Soo continued, that's not what battle is about. Battle is about winning, not fighting. Du Yun's smile faded. You talk like someone who can't fight. Ji-Soo stood up slowly. She was a full head shorter than Du Yun. I accept your challenge, but I choose the type of battle. This was allowed in the academy rules, but rarely done. Du Yun frowned, then nodded. Fine. What battle type? Survival maze. 1 hour. Whoever has taken the least damage wins. Whispers spread through the hall. The survival maze was the hardest test in the academy. Students had to navigate a changing maze full of traps and dangers. It tested not just fighting skill, but thinking and survival. Agreed, Du Yun said. Tomorrow at noon. After he left, Taiho grabbed Ji-Soo's arm. Are you crazy? No one has ever completed the maze without major injuries. And Du Yun has the highest survival score in academy history. I know, Ji-Soo said. I've watched all his runs. Later, in Commander Lee's office, Ji-Soo sat quietly as the commander paced back and forth. Why did you accept his challenge? Commander Lee asked. You were doing so well staying hidden, watching, learning. He would not stop, Ji-Soo said. And I think it's time. Commander Lee stopped pacing. Time for what? Time to stop hiding, Ji-Soo said. My grandmother told me. There is a time to watch and a time to be seen. Commander Lee sat down across from Ji-Soo. Your grandmother was a wise woman. I knew her, you know, in the Earth Defense Force. Ji-Soo looked up in surprise. Why do you think I've been watching you so closely? Commander Lee smiled. When I saw your name on the academy list, I knew who you were. You knew my grandmother. She taught me, just as she taught you, I imagine. Commander Lee leaned forward. The old ways. The quiet ways. Ji-Soo nodded slowly. Du Yun doesn't understand those ways, Commander Lee said. He only knows force and speed. That's why I chose the maze, Ji-Soo said. It's not about force. Commander Lee nodded. Be careful, Ji-Soo. Once people see what you can really do, everything will change. That night, Jisoo couldn't sleep. She sat cross-legged on her bed, eyes closed, breathing slowly the way her grandmother had taught her. In her mind, she walked through every recorded maze challenge, remembering every trap, every turn. Tomorrow, the quiet girl would show a little more of what lay beneath her surface. The observation room was packed with students and teachers. No one wanted to miss the challenge between Do-yeon and Jisoo. On the large screens, they could see the maze waiting. Metal walls, dark corners, and hidden traps filled the space. Jisoo stood at the entrance in simple training clothes. She carried no special gear, just the basic sensor suit that would record any damage she took. Do-yeon arrived with his team. He wore an expensive battle suit with extra padding and built-in sensors. He had 3 small devices attached to his belt. "Those are map makers," Taeho whispered to Mina. "They create a 3D map as he moves through the maze." "Is that allowed?" Mina asked. "Yes, but they're very expensive. Most students can't afford them." Commander Lee stepped forward. "The rules are simple. You have 1 hour in the maze. Whoever takes the least damage wins. You will enter from opposite sides." Do-yeon smiled confidently at Jisoo. "See you at the finish line. What's left of you, anyway?" Jisoo said nothing. Her eyes were closed, her breathing slow and steady. "Begin," Commander Lee announced. The doors opened, and both students entered the maze. On the screens, everyone watched as Do-yeon moved quickly, dropping his map makers at each junction. He checked his wrist display to see the map forming. He moved with purpose, avoiding the traps he could see. On the other screen, Jisoo moved differently. She walked slowly, touching the walls sometimes. Before each turn, she would stop and listen. When traps appeared, floor panels that fell away, walls that closed in, robotic attackers, she seemed to know they were coming. She didn't rush or panic. She moved like water around obstacles. 30 minutes passed. Do-yeon had covered more ground but had taken damage from 3 traps he couldn't avoid. The score display showed he had lost 24 points. Jisoo had covered less ground but had taken no damage at all. Her score remained perfect. "How is she doing that?" Han asked in wonder. In the maze, Do-yeon was getting frustrated. He began to move faster, taking more risks. When a section of floor began to drop, he tried to jump across. He made it, but just barely, scraping his leg on a sharp edge. Another 8 points lost. Jisoo approached the same trap from the other direction, but instead of jumping, she knelt down and picked up a small metal rod that had fallen from a previous trap. She tossed it onto the dropping floor section. Instead of falling, the floor reset. "She's learning the patterns," Commander Lee said quietly. "The traps have sequences." At the 45-minute mark, Do-yeon and Jisoo were both approaching the maze center. Do-yeon had taken more damage, now at 42 points lost. Jisoo still had a perfect score. In the center of the maze was the hardest challenge, a room with moving walls that tried to crush anything inside. Do-yeon entered first, running and diving to avoid the walls. He made it through but was hit twice. His damage score rose to 57. Jisoo entered the room next, but she didn't run or dive. Instead, she stood still in the center. The walls began to move toward her from all sides. "She's going to be crushed," Taeho shouted. But just as the walls were about to hit her, Jisoo moved. 1 step right, 2 steps back, 1 step left. With each step, she was exactly where the walls weren't. She moved in a perfect pattern, like a dance that fit exactly into the spaces between danger. She passed through without a single hit. The final part of the maze was a narrow bridge over a pit. Do-yeon ran across, setting off sensors that shot training darts at him. He was hit 3 times before reaching the exit. Final damage score, 72. Jisoo approached the bridge and stopped. She picked up a piece of broken metal from the ground and threw it onto the bridge. Darts fired at it. When they stopped, she walked calmly across. No darts fired again. She had found the pattern. Jisoo exited the maze with a perfect score. 0 damage. The observation room was silent, then burst into cheers and shocked voices. No one had ever completed the maze without taking damage. Do-Yun stood at the exit, his face a mix of anger and disbelief. How? He demanded when Jisoo appeared. How did you do that? Jisoo looked at him with calm eyes. I listened to the maze, she said simply. Everything has a pattern, even chaos. The next morning, Jisoo just wanted things to return to normal. But nothing was normal anymore. As she walked to class, students stepped aside. Some nodded with respect. Others whispered as she passed. Perfect score. Impossible. They say she can see the future. No, she just knows things. Jisoo kept her eyes down and walked faster. This attention was exactly what she had always avoided. In class, she took her usual seat in the back row. But before the teacher arrived, a message appeared on her tablet. Report to Admiral's office immediately. Jisoo froze. The Admiral's office. No student was ever called there unless they were in serious trouble or being sent home. When she arrived at the Admiral's office, a tall man in a crisp uniform was waiting outside the door. He had gray hair at his temples and sharp eyes that seemed to see everything. Cadet Park, he said. I am Colonel Hansol Park. No relation. He smiled slightly. Please come with me. He led her past the Admiral's office to a small meeting room. Inside was Commander Lee and an older man Jisoo didn't recognize. He wore civilian clothes but had a military bearing. This is Director Kang, Colonel Park said. He oversees special operations for Earth defense. Jisoo bowed slightly. Her heart was racing. Why were such important people interested in her? Please sit, Director Kang said. Jisoo sat down stiffly. Your performance yesterday was remarkable, Colonel Park said. No cadet has ever completed the maze with 0 damage. And your tactical approach to the team battle was equally impressive. Thank you, sir, Jisoo said quietly. We've been watching you, Cadet Park, Director Kang said. Your test scores, your observation skills, the way you process information. You have gifts that cannot be taught. Jisoo looked at Commander Lee, who nodded encouragingly. I don't understand why I'm here, Jisoo said. Colonel Park touched a control panel, and a hologram appeared above the table. It showed a star map with several red dots. These are human outposts that have been attacked in the past month, he said, all by the same enemy. We call them the Void Collective. Jisoo studied the map. The red dots formed a pattern, moving steadily toward Earth. The Void Collective doesn't fight like other species we've encountered, Director Kang explained. They use tactics we cannot predict. Traditional military responses have failed. We need someone who thinks differently, Commander Lee added. Someone who sees patterns where others see chaos. Jisoo looked up from the map. You want me to help fight them? I'm just a student. You are much more than that, Colonel Park said firmly. You are the granddaughter of General Mija Park, who developed the Cognitive Combat Program on Earth. Jisoo went still. Her grandmother had never spoken of her military work. She had only taught Jisoo the quiet ways, the mental exercises, the pattern recognition, the body control. How do you know about my grandmother? She asked. Because I was in that program, Director Kang said. Your grandmother believed that humans couldn't match alien technology, but we could develop our minds to think in ways they couldn't understand. Jisoo remembered her grandmother's words. The strongest weapon is invisible. It's how you think. We need your help, Cadet Park, Colonel Park said. Earth needs your help. Before Jisoo could answer, the door opened. Do-Yun stood there, his face tight with anger. Sir, he said to Colonel Park, I request to be considered for any special assignment given to Cadet Park. My combat scores are the highest in the academy. Colonel Park frowned. This is a private meeting, Cadet Choi. How did you know about it? Do-Yun didn't answer. Instead, he looked at Jisoo. She cheated in the maze. She must have had prior knowledge of the layout. That's impossible, Commander Lee said. The maze changes configuration for each run. Then she had help, Du-Yun insisted. No one completes that maze perfectly. It's designed to cause damage. Jisoo said nothing. She just watched Du-Yun, seeing the patterns in his anger, his jealousy, his fear of being second best. I think you should leave, Cadet Choi, Colonel Park said coldly. After Du-Yun left, Director Kang sighed. He will be a problem. Jisoo looked at the star map again, at the red dots moving toward Earth. I'll help, she said. But I need to understand more about the Void Collective. I need to see how they think. Colonel Park nodded. We were hoping you'd say that. Jisoo spent the next 3 days in a special room deep below the academy. The walls were covered with screens showing battle footage of the Void Collective. Jisoo watched each video many times, taking notes, looking for patterns. The Void ships were black and moved in strange ways, not following normal space travel rules. Their attacks seemed random at first, but Jisoo began to see small patterns in their movements. On the 4th day, Colonel Park visited her. Have you found anything? He asked. Jisoo nodded slowly. They're not random. They're using a complex pattern based on the movement of their targets. She showed him her notes. See here. When our ships move one way, they respond with this pattern. It's like they're dancing with us, but they know the steps before we take them. Colonel Park studied her notes. So how do we beat them? We change the dance, Jisoo said. Do something they don't expect. Meanwhile, Du-Yun was in his room, searching his computer for information about Jisoo. He was still angry about losing to her. No one beat him, especially not a quiet girl who barely spoke in class. There has to be something, he muttered. He had hacked into the academy records, but found little about Jisoo. Her test scores were high, but her personal file was mostly empty. It was as if someone had removed information about her. Then he found something. A small note about her family, her grandmother's name, General Mija Park. Du-Yun searched for this name and found old articles about a secret program on Earth called Cognitive Combat. General Park had led this program, training soldiers to use their minds in new ways. Mind training, Du-Yun whispered. That's her secret. He dug deeper and found more. The program had developed ways to enhance human thinking to fight against aliens with better technology. Some called it mind enhancement and said it was cheating. Du-Yun smiled. Now he had something to use against Jisoo. Back in the special room, Jisoo was explaining her findings to Commander Lee, Colonel Park, and Director Kang. The Void Collective ships always attack in groups of 3, she said. They move like this. She showed a pattern with her hands. If we can break their pattern here, they become confused. Director Kang nodded. This is exactly what we needed. We'll send this to the fleet immediately. Just then, the door opened. The Academy Admiral walked in with Du-Yun behind him. What is the meaning of this? Colonel Park demanded. Cadet Choi has made a serious accusation, the Admiral said. He claims Cadet Park is using illegal cognitive enhancements. The room went silent. Such accusations were very serious. Cognitive enhancements, drugs or technology that improved brain function, were strictly forbidden. That's absurd, Commander Lee said. Is it? Du-Yun stepped forward. Her grandmother ran the cognitive combat program. They developed mind enhancements to fight aliens. I have proof. He held up his tablet, showing the articles he had found. Jisoo remained calm. I have never used enhancements. Then how did you complete the maze with 0 damage? Du-Yun asked. How do you see patterns no one else can see? Because my grandmother taught me, Jisoo said simply. Not with drugs or technology. With training. With patience. With the quiet ways. She's telling the truth. Director Kang said. I was in that program. We didn't use artificial enhancements. We developed natural human abilities through special training. The Admiral looked uncertain. Even so, this must be investigated. If there's any question about Cadet Park's abilities. There is no question, Colonel Park interrupted. Her abilities are natural. Rare, but natural. Then she won't mind being tested, Du Yun said with a smile. Jisoo looked at Du Yun. She saw the patterns in his plan. He didn't care if she was using enhancements. He just wanted to stop her, to slow her down, to make others doubt her. I will take any test, she said calmly. But first, I need to finish my analysis of the Void Collective. Earth's defense is more important than Cadet Choi's wounded pride. Do Yun's face darkened with anger. Before he could speak, alarms began to sound throughout the academy. A voice came over the speakers. Alert! Alert! Unknown ships approaching. All cadets to emergency stations. This is not a drill. Colonel Park's communicator beeped. His face went pale as he read the message. It's the Void Collective, he said. They found us. Chaos erupted in the academy. Alarms blared as students and teachers ran to their emergency stations. Through the large windows, 3 black ships could be seen approaching. They moved in a strange pattern, unlike any normal spacecraft. The command center is cut off, Colonel Park said, checking his communicator. The Void ships have jammed our main systems. What about the defense shields? Commander Lee asked. Holding for now. But they won't last long, Colonel Park replied. We need to evacuate. Director Kang shook his head. There's no time. Look. On a nearby screen, they could see small pods leaving the Void ships. They were landing on the Academy's outer hull. Boarding parties, Colonel Park said grimly. They're coming in. Jisoo stepped forward. Let me help. Do Yun laughed. What can you do against armed invaders? Before Jisoo could answer, the lights went out. Emergency red lights came on, casting strange shadows across the room. The shields are down, Commander Lee said. They're inside. Colonel Park drew his weapon. We need to get to the armory and organize a defense. The senior cadets can help, Commander Lee suggested. They'd had combat training. Jisoo was already moving to the door. I know the fastest way to the student quarters. I can gather the cadets. I'm coming with you, Du Yun said. When everyone looked at him in surprise, he added, I'm the best fighter in the academy. You need me. Colonel Park nodded. Go. We'll head to the armory and meet you at the main hall. Jisoo and Du Yun ran through the dim corridors. They could hear strange sounds echoing through the academy. Metal on metal, alien voices, the hum of unknown weapons. Why are they attacking the academy? Du Yun asked as they ran. We're just a school. They're not after the academy, Jisoo said. They're after what I found. They somehow know I've discovered their pattern. They turned a corner and nearly ran into 2 alien figures. The Void soldiers were tall and thin, covered in black armor that seemed to swallow light. Their helmets had no eye holes, just smooth, dark surfaces. Before Du Yun could raise his weapon, Jisoo pulled him back around the corner. What are you doing? He hissed. I could have taken them. No, Jisoo said quietly. Their armor absorbs energy. Watch. She picked up a small metal object from the floor and threw it down the hall. The Void soldiers instantly fired their weapons. The object didn't just burn, it disappeared completely. Du Yun's eyes widened. How did you know that? I saw it in the battle footage, Jisoo explained. We need to find another way. They took a service tunnel that Jisoo remembered from studying the academy maps. Soon they reached the student quarters where frightened cadets were gathering. Listen to me, Jisoo called out. The academy is under attack. We need to organize. At first, no one listened. There was too much fear, too much noise. Then Du Yun stepped forward. Hey, he shouted. Shut up and listen to Jisoo. She knows what to do. The room quieted. Jisoo nodded thanks to Du Yun. then quickly explained the situation. "The Void soldiers have weapons that erase matter," she said. "But they have a weakness. They move in patterns. If we can disrupt their patterns, we can confuse them." She divided the cadets into small groups, giving each group specific instructions. Some would create distractions. Others would set traps. The strongest fighters would engage only when the Void soldiers were disoriented. "What about you?" Tahoe asked. "I'm going to the communications center," Jisoo replied. "If I can send my findings to the Earth fleet, they'll know how to fight the Void ships." "That's on the other side of the academy," Minna pointed out, "past where the Void soldiers landed." "I know," Jisoo said. "That's why I need to go alone." "No," Do-Yun said firmly. "I'm coming with you." Jisoo looked at him in surprise. "I still think you cheated in the maze," Do-Yun said with a small smile. "I want to see how you handle real danger." As the cadet groups moved out to their positions, Jisoo and Do-Yun headed toward the communications center. The academy had become a battlefield, and the quiet girl who watched from the shadows was now leading the fight. Jisoo and Do-Yun moved carefully through the dim corridors. The sounds of fighting echoed from different parts of the academy. Jisoo led the way, stopping often to listen. "How do you know which way to go?" Do-Yun whispered. "I memorized all the paths," Jisoo said simply, "and I'm listening for the Void soldiers. Their armor makes a soft humming sound." Do-Yun shook his head in wonder. "You really do notice everything." They reached a junction where 3 corridors met. Jisoo held up her hand, signaling Do-Yun to stop. She closed her eyes, listening. 3 Void soldiers, coming from the left," she whispered. "We need to hide." They ducked into a small storage room and waited. Through the crack in the door, they saw 3 black figures glide past. Their movements were smooth and coordinated, almost like a dance. "See how they move," Jisoo whispered. "Always in groups of 3. Always in the same pattern." Once the soldiers had passed, they continued toward the communications center. They were halfway there when they heard a scream. "That's Minna," Do-Yun said. They ran toward the sound and found Minna and Han trapped in a room, with 2 Void soldiers approaching them. Han was trying to shield Minna, but they were cornered. "We have to help them," Do-Yun said, raising his weapon. "Wait," Jisoo touched his arm. "Watch the soldiers. See their pattern." The Void soldiers moved in perfect sync, like they were connected. Each step, each turn matched exactly. "I'm going to break their pattern," Jisoo said. "When I do, you shoot the one on the right." Jisoo picked up a metal pipe from the floor. She threw it hard, not at the soldiers, but at the wall behind them. The pipe hit the wall and bounced back, landing between the 2 soldiers. For just a moment, the soldiers' perfect pattern broke. One went left, one went right. "Now," Jisoo shouted. Do-Yun fired at the soldier on the right. His shot hit perfectly, and the soldier fell. The other soldier seemed confused, its movements suddenly jerky and uncertain. Do-Yun quickly fired again and took down the second one. "How did you know that would work?" he asked Jisoo in amazement. "Their strength is in their pattern," Jisoo explained as they helped Minna and Han. "Break the pattern, break their focus." Minna looked at Jisoo with wide eyes. "You saved us. Stay together and head to the main hall," Jisoo told them. "The others will be there. Remember to disrupt their patterns if you see more soldiers." As Minna and Han left, Do-Yun turned to Jisoo. "We should go with them. It's safer." Jisoo shook her head. "We still need to reach the communications center. Earth needs to know how to fight them." They continued their dangerous journey through the academy. Twice more, they encountered Void soldiers, and each time Jisoo found a way to break their patterns, allowing Do-Yun to fight effectively. Finally, they reached the communications center. Inside, they found Commander Lee defending the room against a Void soldier. She was injured, blood running down her arm. Do-Yun rushed forward to help, but the soldier swung around with incredible speed. its weapon aimed directly at Du Yun's chest. Ji-Soo moved without thinking. She pushed Du Yun aside, just as the weapon fired. The blast missed him by inches. "Break its pattern," Ji-Soo shouted. Du Yun understood now. He moved unpredictably, zigzagging, stopping suddenly, changing direction. The Void Soldier couldn't track him. Its smooth movements became jerky as it tried to adjust. Commander Lee saw the opening and fired her weapon. The soldier fell. "Ji-Soo," Commander Lee said with relief. "Thank goodness you're here. The communications are still working, but I don't know for how long." Ji-Soo quickly moved to the communication console. She began sending her findings about the Void Collective. Their patterns, their weaknesses, how to disrupt their coordination. As she worked, Du Yun watched her with new eyes. "I was wrong about you," he said quietly. "There's no enhancement, no trick. You just see things differently, don't you?" Ji-Soo nodded, still typing. "My grandmother taught me that the strongest weapon is the mind. Technology can be matched or defeated, but a mind that sees patterns where others see chaos, that cannot be easily countered." Du Yun looked at the fallen Void Soldier. "You just saved my life." "Why?" "After how I treated you." Ji-Soo paused and looked at him. "Because that's what humans do. We protect each other, even those we don't agree with. That's our real strength." As her message went out to the Earth fleet, Ji-Soo knew that the quiet girl who watched from the shadows had finally shown her true strength. 3 days after the attack, the Academy was quiet again. The Void Collective ships had retreated when Earth's defense fleet arrived. The Academy had suffered damage, but no lives were lost. Ji-Soo sat alone in the garden area, watching the stars. So much had changed in such a short time. She wasn't the invisible girl anymore. Now, everyone knew her name. "Mind if I join you?" Commander Lee asked, approaching slowly. Her arm was still bandaged from the injury during the attack. Ji-Soo nodded, and Commander Lee sat beside her on the bench. "The Earth Defense Fleet reports that your information worked perfectly," Commander Lee said. "They disrupted the Void ship's patterns and drove them back beyond the outer colonies." "I'm glad," Ji-Soo said softly. "Colonel Park has asked me to give you this." Commander Lee handed Ji-Soo a small box. Inside was a medal, the Star of Earth Defense, one of the highest honors given to those who protected Earth and its colonies. "There will be a ceremony tomorrow," Commander Lee explained. "Admiral wants to make it a big event." Ji-Soo closed the box without taking out the medal. "I don't need ceremonies." Commander Lee smiled. "I know. You're like your grandmother that way. She never wanted attention either." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, looking at the stars. "Colonel Park also asked me to tell you that you've been offered early graduation," Commander Lee said. "They want you to join a special tactical team. You would be the youngest member ever." Ji-Soo thought about this. Part of her wanted to return to the shadows, to her quiet life of watching and learning. But she knew now that her skills were needed. "What would my grandmother say?" Ji-Soo asked. Commander Lee looked at her with kind eyes. "She would say that a gift becomes a duty when others need it. She would tell you that the quiet ways are not just for hiding, but for helping when the time is right." Ji-Soo nodded slowly. "Then I will accept." The next day, the ceremony was held in the main hall. All the students and teachers gathered to honor those who had fought during the attack. Ji-Soo stood uncomfortably on the stage as Admiral Yang told the story of how her insights had saved the Academy and helped defeat the Void Collective. When Ji-Soo received her medal, she spoke only a few words. "I thank my grandmother, who taught me to see patterns in chaos." After the ceremony, Colonel Park approached her with Director Kang. "Have you thought about our offer?" Colonel Park asked. "Yes," Ji-Soo said. "I will join your team, but I have one condition." Colonel Park raised his eyebrows. "What condition?" "I want to choose some team members myself," Ji-Soo said. Director Kang smiled. "You already have people in mind, don't you?" Ji-Soo nodded. "I need Tae-ho Kim. He has a way of bringing people together. And Mina Kang for her quick thinking. Anyone else? Colonel Park asked. Jisoo looked across the room where Du Yun stood with his friends. Du Yun Choi. Colonel Park looked surprised. After everything he did to you. He's the best fighter in the academy, Jisoo explained. And now he understands that strength isn't everything. We need both approaches. Later, as Jisoo packed her few belongings in her room, Taeho burst in excitedly. Is it true? He asked. We're joining a special team together. Jisoo nodded. If you want to. Are you kidding? Of course I'd want to. Taeho grinned. Wait until I tell my parents their son is going to save the galaxy. There was a knock at the door. Du Yun stood there, looking uncomfortable. Can I talk to you? He asked Jisoo. Taeho looked between them. I'll give you 2 minutes, he said, leaving the room. Why did you pick me for your team? Du Yun asked once they were alone. Because we balance each other, Jisoo said. You act, I observe. You lead from the front. I lead from behind. Du Yun was quiet for a moment. I want to learn from you, he finally said. The quiet ways. Jisoo smiled, a real smile that reached her eyes. Then I will teach you. The next morning, Jisoo walked up the ramp of the Earth defense ship that would take them to their new assignment. As she looked back at the academy, she remembered the shy girl who had arrived here, always hiding in the shadows. That girl was still part of her, still watching, still seeing patterns others missed. But now she would use those gifts to protect Earth and its people. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should fear most in battle. Jisoo Park had proven that.